Younger women hate when older guys do this. 9 unattractive habits. Stoic love. As we get older, we naturally acquire wisdom, stability, and life experience, traits that can make us particularly appealing to younger women. These qualities are often incredibly attractive, yet many older men unknowingly diminish their own appeal by making mistakes that prevent them from forming a real connection. Time and time again, I've seen men in their 40s, 50s, and beyond who, despite their potential, remain frustrated and single simply because they don't realize the missteps they're making. The issue isn't just about losing her respect. It's about missing the chance to truly showcase the depth of what you bring to the table. Older men have something that younger men can't offer: a deeper understanding of life, emotional stability, and the wisdom to guide in meaningful ways. However, it's easy to fall into habits that undermine these strengths. The good news is, these mistakes are just habits that can be changed. You don't need to become someone else, but instead recognize where things are going wrong and make adjustments. By doing this, you'll be able to present the confident, grounded version of yourself that's just waiting to be seen. Today, I'll go over 9 common mistakes older men make when dating younger women, and how you can avoid them. By making these changes, you'll not only change how others perceive you, but also how you view yourself. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Don't let opportunities pass by. Let's dive into the first mistake and how you can steer clear of it. Mistake 1. Ignoring her independence. Ignoring a woman's independence can be one of the most detrimental habits a man can exhibit, especially when it comes to relationships with younger women, who tend to place a significant emphasis on their autonomy and self-sufficiency. To ignore this independence is to send the subtle yet powerful message that you don't appreciate her individualism, her achievements, or her ability to make decisions for herself. It's not about pushing a partner into a box of dependence, but rather embracing the fact that an empowered woman who values her freedom and personal space is both attractive and capable. As the famous philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once said, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." And younger women are often seeking a relationship that allows them the room to grow, flourish, and shape their own future without feeling constrained by their partner's expectations. This could be in her career, her social life, or her personal pursuits. When a man doesn't recognize or respect her need for autonomy, it sends a message that she is not seen for who she truly is, but rather for the version of herself that fits into his narrative. In everyday life, this often looks like a man trying to constantly make decisions for her or questioning her judgment in ways that undermine her confidence. For example, it could be something as trivial as dictating where she should go for dinner or making decisions for her about how to handle a work situation. It might even extend to more significant matters, like how she manages her finances or how she balances her time between work, personal interests, and the relationship. These acts, even if done with the best of intentions, often come across as patronizing or controlling, as if she can't manage her life without his input. It may not be an overt attempt to undermine her, but for a younger woman who is still finding her way in the world, it can feel stifling and counterproductive to personal growth. Women, particularly younger women, seek partners who acknowledge and celebrate their independence, who don't view their drive, ambition, or personal goals as a threat, but as a shared aspect of a balanced relationship. It's crucial to remember that a relationship is not about one partner dominating the other, but about mutual respect. In fact, this respect for autonomy often leads to more fulfilling, long-lasting relationships. A healthy relationship should allow space for each person to pursue their own interests, passions, and growth, while still maintaining a strong, supportive connection. It's not about control, it's about understanding and respecting each other's need for personal space and individual pursuits. Take, for instance, the example of career goals. If a man dismisses his partner's professional ambitions or fails to appreciate the effort she's putting into her career, it can create a rift between them. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or making comments that undermine her capabilities, A better approach would be to offer encouragement and respect for her career path, even if it differs from what he might envision. This shows that he values her for who she is as an individual, not just as someone who complements him or fits into his vision of the relationship. Another way this shows up is when a man feels the need to rescue her or protect her from every potential danger or discomfort. While protection can be a kind and thoughtful gesture, constant interference in her decisions, big or small, suggests that he doesn't trust her to handle things on her own. As the famous scientist Albert Einstein once said, "The only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library," implying that true wisdom comes from the freedom to explore, learn, and make mistakes on your own. He wasn't suggesting that we should be completely isolated from others, but that personal growth often happens when we have the space to figure things out independently. In real life, respecting a woman's independence doesn't mean ignoring her needs or not being supportive. It means showing that you trust her judgment, that you believe in her ability to manage her life, and that you see her as an equal partner. If she asks for advice, be ready to offer it in a supportive and non-judgmental way. If she doesn't, respect her decision-making and let her lead the way when it comes to her own choices. It's about balance. By stepping back and allowing her the room to breathe and make decisions on her own, you're fostering a relationship built on trust, admiration, and mutual respect. This not only strengthens the bond, but creates a foundation where both partners can flourish and grow. So, next time you're with a woman who values her independence, take a moment to reflect on how your actions are either supporting or hindering her freedom. Do you trust her ability to handle life on her own, or are you trying to take the reins? Relationships thrive when both partners give each other the space and respect to be their own individuals, while supporting each other's growth. Think about the power of this dynamic. It's not about controlling or managing your partner's every move, but instead recognizing the strength in her independence and fostering an environment where both of you can grow together. If you find this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember. I honor her independence and trust her decisions. Mistake 2. Taking things too seriously. When it comes to relationships, particularly with younger women, one common trait that can be a serious turn-off for them is when older guys take things too seriously. The nature of relationships is fluid, and the ability to enjoy the moment without constant overthinking or placing too much pressure on it can be a refreshing change. A younger woman, who is likely still navigating the world with a certain level of optimism and spontaneity, doesn't want to feel like every small interaction is weighed down by existential meaning. It's one thing to value a connection, but when it becomes about dissecting every word and action, it can feel suffocating. Imagine the scene. You're out at a bar, having a casual conversation, and instead of enjoying the easy flow of the interaction, you start reading between every line, trying to uncover deeper motives, wondering if she likes you or what your next move should be. It creates an air of tension and discomfort. The conversation is no longer about connecting, it's about analysis. A younger woman might just want to enjoy the moment and the chemistry between the two of you without the need for constant validation or intellectual examination. This behavior often ties into the belief that older guys have more life experience and thus feel a need to guide or instruct rather than simply connect. It's an understandable impulse, given that life has undoubtedly offered them a wealth of wisdom. However, younger women, particularly those who are still figuring out their place in the world, might not always be interested in being taught something about how to live their lives, especially if it feels like it's coming from a place of judgment rather than genuine care. Overthinking and overanalyzing, however, also go hand in hand with another unattractive habit, the need to control. The idea that one needs to control the flow of a conversation, steer it in a direction that feels safe, or have every piece of the interaction meticulously planned, can make the relationship feel less organic. In modern relationships, there is beauty in vulnerability and in letting things evolve naturally, without the pressure of needing everything to be perfect. As men get older, there can be a tendency to bring past experiences into present situations, often in the form of assumptions or expectations. This is especially true for those who may have been burned in the past or have seen their fair share of failed relationships. They may begin to see patterns and, out of a sense of caution, approach relationships with a more serious, guarded attitude. While this might have been helpful in protecting their hearts in the past, it can easily translate to a lack of emotional availability. Younger women, on the other hand, may be seeking someone who is open to exploring new experiences without being weighed down by the baggage of previous relationships. They may be looking for someone who doesn't treat every moment with a sense of impending judgment, but rather someone who can meet them where they are, free from the extra weight of what went wrong in the past. In modern life, with the increasing presence of online dating and the fast-paced nature of social interactions, there's an overwhelming amount of pressure to define and label everything. There's a sense that every text, every glance, every meeting must have some underlying purpose. But here's the thing: relationships, particularly new ones, should be about discovery and mutual enjoyment, not interrogation. Taking things too seriously or placing too much pressure on each moment can ultimately work against you, creating an atmosphere of stress rather than one of connection. Younger women are not interested in feeling like they are under a microscope, nor do they want to feel that their every action is being judged for some deeper meaning. It's also important to remember that younger women may be at different stages in life. They might still be experimenting with different types of relationships or trying to figure out what they want in a partner. In these situations, someone who is too intense, too serious, or too focused on making things work can come across as overwhelming. What they often need is someone who can complement their spontaneity and bring some lightness into their lives, rather than someone who's constantly calculating and questioning every move. This doesn't mean being reckless or unthoughtful, but it does mean being able to relax and enjoy the connection without thinking every decision must lead to something monumental. Lastly, when you take things too seriously, it can signal to the younger woman that you're not entirely comfortable with yourself or the situation. You might be relying too much on external validation or seeking affirmation from the relationship itself. This dependence can come across as insecurity, and insecurity tends to be unattractive no matter the age. Confidence is key, and confidence isn't about acting like everything must be serious and weighed down with meaning. It's about being able to let go and enjoy the journey without needing everything to fit into a particular box. In today's fast-paced world, where things can feel rushed and pressured, younger women may prefer the type of partner who can bring a sense of ease into their life, someone who can be present and take things lightly without worrying about what each moment could mean in the grand scheme of things. In conclusion, relationships with younger women often thrive on ease, fun, and genuine connection. Taking things too seriously can create unnecessary tension and rob both parties of the joy that comes from simply being in the moment. If you're seeking to form a lasting bond, it's essential to embrace the dynamic of learning together, enjoying each other's company without constantly analysing every interaction. It's about finding balance, and that balance often lies in allowing things to unfold naturally, free from the weight of expectations. Be present, be easygoing, and be confident enough to let the relationship grow on its own terms. After all, the best things in life, love included, are often the ones that happen when we least expect them. If you found this helpful, comment below, and share with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe, comment to remember. I enjoy the moment without overthinking. Mistake 3. Idolizing her. In the world of dating, especially for men between the ages of 35 and 70, one of the most common traps you can fall into when meeting a younger woman is idolizing her. Picture this. You're standing in front of a stunning, youthful woman full of energy, beauty, and perhaps a bit intimidating. What happens next? Your heart races, your thoughts scatter, and you begin to freeze. Instinctively, you might think, "She's out of my league. I can't mess this up." In that moment, you try too hard, showering her with attention, being overly polite, agreeing with everything she says, and avoiding any controversial or offbeat topics. You're desperately attempting to show her your worth, but in doing so, you're inadvertently setting yourself up for failure. All this energy spent on trying to please her doesn't make you charming. It makes you boring, predictable, and even desperate. As renowned psychologist Dr. John Gottman once said, the way we think, the way we behave, the way we feel, these are all interconnected. And when you place someone on a pedestal, it triggers a mindset that connects your self-worth to her approval, which is a major turn-off. The underlying issue is simple. By idolizing a younger woman, you're unconsciously putting her on a pedestal, making her something to be won, and making yourself feel undeserving of her attention. This is where the danger lies. You overthink every conversation, second-guess your actions, and, ultimately, project insecurity. Women don't fall for the man who constantly tries to prove he's worthy. They fall for the man who exudes confidence, who sees her not as a prize, but as an equal. It's the man who stands tall beside her, not one who places her on a higher platform than himself. When you idolize her, you may believe you're showing her respect, but in reality, you're unintentionally pushing her away by signaling that you see yourself as less valuable than she is. As author and speaker Tony Robbins wisely said, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. If you don't approach her as an equal, the relationship, or even the chance of it, suffers. Let's break it down. Every time you elevate her, you lower your own worth in your mind and consequently in hers. It's an exhausting dance of trying to prove yourself. But here's the key. No one has time for that. And worse, no one wants to be around someone who feels like they're constantly fighting for approval. So how do you stop this cycle? You need to normalize your interactions with women of all ages. When you make it a habit to talk to women, especially younger ones, without putting unnecessary pressure on yourself or her, you begin to realize they're just people, flawed, quirky, and human, just like you. They may look different, but they have the same desires, fears, and hopes. They are not some rare, unreachable treasure. And once you let go of the need to impress or idolize, you approach them with a grounded confidence, free from anxiety or insecurity. Understand this. You are not auditioning for her approval. She's not a trophy to be won, a prize to chase. She's a person, just like you, with her own likes, dislikes, dreams, and experiences. She will decide if she's compatible with you. But that decision doesn't define your worth. You're not bound by her answer because you're not defined by her judgment. And here's where your true power lies. When you embrace the mindset that you don't need her to validate your existence, you realize that the fear of rejection or losing her dissipates. You don't need to chase approval anymore, because there's always someone else out there who might be a better match for you. This mindset gives you freedom, the freedom to be yourself without fear. And once you embrace this freedom, you stop looking at relationships as contests, and you begin to experience them as true connections. The secret is this. The moment you stop fearing her, you begin to understand that your real power lies in your ability to walk away from anyone, knowing your worth isn't determined by their approval. So if you want to thrive in your interactions with younger women, step 1 is simple. Stop idolizing them. Approach each conversation with confidence and authenticity. Treat her as an equal and stop thinking you need to win her. This shift will not only make you more attractive, but it will also free you from the exhausting cycle of self-doubt. Remember, confidence is your strongest asset. It's not about chasing someone else's validation. It's about owning your life and your worth. And that, my friend, is how you truly become the man you were always meant to be. If this resonated with you, comment below and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Comment, I am confident and deserving of respect. Mistake 4. Being overly critical of her friends or lifestyle. When you're in a relationship, especially with a younger woman, it can sometimes be tempting to offer your perspective on the world, and you may feel like your life experience gives you wisdom that she needs to hear. However, one of the most unattractive things you can do, and one that will quickly turn her off, is to be overly critical of her friends or lifestyle. This is something that many younger women find frustrating, as it can feel like you're not just criticizing her, but attacking her entire world. Keep in mind, the friends she surrounds herself with and the lifestyle she's created are crucial aspects of her identity. When you're critical of them, you're not just pointing out flaws, you're essentially telling her that the very things that make her feel whole are wrong. This can make her feel like you don't appreciate her for who she is and what she values. You might think you're offering well-meaning advice or that you're being protective, but what often comes across is an unwanted and unwelcome judgment. Instead of feeling like you're helping, she may feel as if she's being criticized or controlled. It's easy for someone older to assume they have more wisdom simply because of their age, but in reality, what's important in relationships isn't just offering advice, but offering it in a way that respects the other person's autonomy. A younger woman wants to feel supported and valued, not like she's constantly being scrutinized or told she's wrong. While it's natural to want to protect the people we care about, there's a fine line between offering a genuine, helpful perspective and trying to steer someone toward the life you think they should lead. The key here is understanding that her choices, no matter how different they may seem from yours, are valid and meaningful to her. Criticizing her friends or lifestyle choices can send the message that you don't accept her for who she truly is. Imagine this. You're sitting with her and you're talking about her circle of friends. You might not understand them, or maybe you feel like they aren't the right influence on her, but rather than diving into a conversation where you express your disapproval, consider why she values these people and what they mean to her. When you criticize her friends, you're not only attacking people she cares about, but you're also indirectly criticizing her judgment. And let's face it, no one wants to feel like their choices in life, especially the people they choose to spend time with, are constantly under fire. This goes beyond just being a little critical. It's about respect and understanding the importance of her social circle in her overall well-being. Everyone has different standards and expectations of friendship, and while some might seem unconventional or unfamiliar to you, that doesn't make them any less meaningful to her. Also, don't forget that her lifestyle, the way she lives her life, the hobbies she enjoys, the way she spends her free time, is her way of expressing herself. When you're overly critical of these aspects of her life, you make her feel as though the things that bring her joy, fulfillment, and a sense of identity are somehow not good enough. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with her choices, try to see things from her perspective. Engage in a dialogue where you're open to understanding her world without judgment. If she talks about a hobby or a weekend plan that you might find silly or unimportant, don't dismiss it out of hand. Instead, ask her more about it and express genuine curiosity. If there are friends you don't connect with or don't understand, ask her what they mean to her and why they're important to her life. This approach will foster a deeper connection and a greater sense of respect. The truth is, relationships thrive when both partners feel accepted for who they are. This means accepting the things that make her happy, even if they aren't the same things that bring you joy. Life experience should not be about imposing your beliefs or expectations on someone younger, but rather about sharing a space where both partners can grow together, respecting each other's differences and celebrating them. The best relationships are ones where both people feel heard, understood, and valued. If you find yourself constantly questioning her choices or lifestyle, take a step back and ask yourself, am I offering constructive advice, or am I just imposing my own view of how things should be? It's essential to trust that she has her own path, just as you have yours, and both are worthy of respect. By showing respect for her lifestyle and her friendships, you're demonstrating maturity and emotional intelligence. It shows that you understand that love isn't about changing someone or molding them to fit your ideal. Instead, it's about loving them for who they are, flaws and all. It's about letting her feel free to be herself in the relationship without fear of judgment or criticism. At the end of the day, relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and acceptance. If you can nurture that by appreciating her for who she is, you'll create a much stronger, more fulfilling connection. Don't try to change her. Celebrate the person she is and the world she's created. Love her as she is, and she will love you for it. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I respect her choices and embrace her individuality. Relationships thrive when we honor and appreciate our partner's unique world. Instead of being overly critical of her friends or lifestyle, choose to understand and support her decisions. This kind of respect builds trust and strengthens the connection. Now, share your thoughts below. How do you show respect for your partner's individuality and choices? Mistake 5. Messing up the age question. When you're conversing with a younger woman and things are going smoothly, everything can be going perfectly until she drops the inevitable question. So, how old are you? For many older men, this moment can cause a wave of panic. Instead of responding calmly and confidently, many guys either nervously blurt out their age or awkwardly try to change the subject. Their body language shifts, their voice quivers, and suddenly, the confident, charismatic man she was enjoying talking to begins to shrink before her eyes. Why does this happen? The issue stems from how you view the question in the first place. When you act insecure about your age, you're essentially telling her that you think it's a problem. And if you perceive it as a problem, chances are she'll start to view it the same way. This fear of revealing your age is often rooted in a lack of self-assurance. Society has conditioned older men to feel that dating younger women is somehow inappropriate or taboo, which builds pressure, shame, or self-doubt. But here's the important thing to understand. Your age is not the problem. The problem is how you present it. If you approach it with hesitation, discomfort, or insecurity, you're inadvertently inviting her to view it through a negative lens as well. So, the next time the age question comes up, take a deep breath and own it. Confidence is everything. You don't need to be uncomfortable or defensive. In fact, there are 2 great ways to handle the situation. You can either playfully deflect it or be straightforward with a calm, self-assured tone. If you feel comfortable with humor, use it to diffuse any potential tension while adding a bit of charm. For example, you could respond with a sly smile and say, "I'm actually too old for you. We'd never work." Or you could exaggerate in a light-hearted way, pretending to count on your fingers before saying, "I'm 700 months old." How about you? Both responses keep things light and playful, showing that you don't take yourself or your age too seriously. However, if humor isn't your style or doesn't feel natural to you, there's always the option of being direct and calm. Simply say, "I'm 47, and then pause for a moment before flashing a confident smile. This pause, though subtle, allows you to maintain control of the conversation. After sharing your age, smoothly transition to a more engaging topic. The most important thing here is to show her that your age is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. When you act at ease with who you are, she'll mirror that comfort and relax into the conversation, just as you did. This approach isn't about lying or hiding the truth. It's about owning your truth and framing it in a way that doesn't make it seem like a point of weakness. Modern society often adds pressure when it comes to relationships with age differences, especially in the context of older men and younger women. But this pressure is only real if you allow it to be. The key to navigating these situations successfully is remembering that confidence transcends age. Confidence in who you are and where you are in life makes all the difference. Age isn't a negative thing. It's just a number. When you approach conversations with a younger woman and confidently present yourself, your age will stop being an issue altogether. It's your comfort in your own skin that will keep her intrigued, not the number of candles on your birthday cake. By embracing this mindset, you'll find that age gaps are nothing more than an irrelevant detail in an otherwise interesting conversation. So, take charge, laugh off any awkwardness, and remember that your worth is about much more than the years you've accumulated. Mistake 6. Using age as a way to assert authority. Using age as a way to assert authority is one of the biggest mistakes older men can make in relationships with younger women, and it's a habit that often leads to resentment and disconnection. You may believe that the wisdom you've gained over the years grants you an automatic advantage in any situation. After all, with age comes experience, right? But here's the truth. Wisdom isn't something you can demand based on age alone. As the great philosopher Socrates once said, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. This isn't an invitation to pretend you have no experience, but to recognize that life is an ever-evolving journey. Young women aren't looking for someone who simply lectures them from a pedestal. They want partners who listen, who engage, who understand that knowledge isn't just something to dispense, but to share. There's a subtle difference between being experienced and being a know-it-all, and it's crucial to know where you stand. You might think your years give you the right to command attention in the room, to dominate conversations, or to constantly offer unsolicited advice, but this is one of the most unattractive things you can do. Think of the legendary speaker and entrepreneur Tony Robbins, who famously said, "The way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives." Communication isn't just about the words you say, it's about the connection you build with others. If you're only talking to assert your authority, that connection is lost, and that loss can be irreversible, especially with younger women who crave emotional connection, understanding, and mutual respect. Now, let's be real. Society has a tendency to elevate age, to assume that older equals better, but this is a dangerous mindset. If you believe that being older automatically makes you the alpha in the relationship, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. This isn't to say that age doesn't come with certain benefits. There's absolutely a depth of experience and insight that comes with age. But it's critical to use that wisdom to guide, not dominate. Women, particularly younger ones, seek equality in a relationship. They don't need a father figure or a boss. They need a partner. Age-based authority creates imbalance, and imbalance breeds dissatisfaction. But here's the paradox. If you truly want to connect on a deeper level, you must learn to let go of that need for control. The most respected men in history, the ones who have led, inspired, and built legacies, were never those who forced their authority onto others. They were the ones who created space for others to be themselves, to grow alongside them. Think of Steve Jobs, who famously said, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work." It's not about asserting dominance. It's about building something great together, something that transcends age or authority. In modern relationships, especially when it comes to men and women, the idea of power should never be about control, but about understanding, respect, and collaboration. So here's the advice. Don't wear your age like a badge of superiority. Instead, wear it as a badge of experience that can enrich the relationship. Not to command it, but to nurture it. Show up with humility, with the intent to learn as much as you share, and with the understanding that you're not just looking to lead, you're looking to walk side by side. The moment you stop trying to assert your older man authority is the moment you unlock the real potential of your relationships. Stop trying to impose your wisdom and start sharing it as a partner, not a teacher. Remember, true authority comes not from how loudly you speak, but from how deeply you listen. The greatest leaders in history weren't those who shouted the loudest or flexed their years the most, but those who built trust and inspired others by respecting the unique perspective each person brought to the table. So, next time you're in a conversation with a younger woman, instead of thinking about how you can assert your authority, think about how you can empower her, how you can build something together, and how you can grow together. Stop trying to be the boss. Instead, aim to be the one who builds the foundation where mutual respect, growth, and connection thrive. This is where the true magic happens in modern relationships. And now, I challenge you. If you're ready to let go of outdated habits and embrace a new approach, like, comment, and subscribe to learn more about becoming the man who thrives in relationships based on equality and respect. Leave a comment below with a bold statement about how you're ready to evolve your relationships for the better. This is your time to step up and become the best version of yourself. Mistake 7. Leading with money. In today's world, many older men make the common yet fatal mistake of believing that their financial success is the ultimate weapon when it comes to attracting younger women. They think that if they can flaunt their wealth, whether through showing off expensive cars, bragging about high-paying jobs, or boasting about their luxury vacations, it will surely win them the affection of the younger woman they desire. Some go even further, thinking that throwing money at her, buying lavish gifts, paying off debts, or even sending money to women they barely know will create a bond that will lead to something deeper. But here's the hard truth. While money can certainly catch her attention initially, it's not the kind of attention you want to cultivate for the long haul. Leading with money reduces you to nothing more than a walking ATM, a transaction machine, rather than a genuine partner who offers real value beyond financial status. Money may signal stability and success, which are attractive traits, but if that's all you have to offer, you will attract women who are only interested in what you can provide for them financially. These women aren't looking for connection, respect, or emotional intimacy. They are seeking to exploit your resources. The true way to avoid this trap is simple. Though it takes real maturity and insight, stop leading with your wealth. Instead, let your financial success speak for itself over time as a natural result of your hard work, and never make it the focal point of your relationships. The women who are truly worth your time are not seeking someone who will shower them with material goods. They are looking for someone they can truly connect with, someone whose personality, values, and life perspective resonate with their own. The key here is to shift your focus from being a provider to being a man of substance, one who can offer depth, intelligence, and emotional stability. When you lead with your character, you send a message that you are a person of value, someone who is confident and secure in his own skin, and not someone who is looking to buy love or affection. When you do this, you will naturally attract the type of woman who values who you are as a person, not just your bank account. The foundation of a lasting relationship is built on respect, shared interests, and genuine emotional connection, not on transactional exchanges. Money is merely a tool. It can open doors, sure, but it cannot build a meaningful connection. Stop seeing it as a crutch and start focusing on developing your character, your passions, and your interests. This is what truly makes you stand out and draws the right kind of woman into your life. Remember that real attraction is not rooted in material possessions. It's rooted in who you are at the core, your integrity, your ability to connect on a deeper level, and your emotional intelligence. As the great philosopher Aristotle once said, "The good for man is an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue." This speaks to the idea that your worth as a person isn't measured by what you can buy, but by the virtuous qualities you embody. Your true value lies in how you treat others, how you carry yourself, and the kind of person you are in moments when there's no money to be flaunted. When you start leading with your character, rather than your wallet, you will find yourself in relationships that are rich in meaning, authenticity, and respect. The right woman will not be impressed by your wealth alone, but by the way you conduct yourself, the depth of your conversations, and the integrity with which you approach life. So take a step back and ask yourself, what am I truly offering in a relationship? Are you offering a well-rounded, confident version of yourself, or are you relying on material things to fill the gaps? As you begin to prioritize connection over financial status, you'll see that the relationships you build will be far more fulfilling. True, lasting connections are built on shared values, mutual respect, and emotional compatibility, not financial transactions. As the poet Maya Angelou wisely stated, "We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value no matter their colour." In relationships, this means that the richness of the connection you share is not determined by wealth, but by the layers of your experiences, personalities, and shared values. When you lead with who you truly are, without hiding behind your bank balance, you'll be able to form a connection that goes beyond the surface, rooted in authenticity and mutual respect. Mistake 8. Positioning yourself as a mentor. When older men find themselves drawn to younger women, it's easy for them to slip into the mindset of positioning themselves as a mentor or guide. They think that by demonstrating how much they can teach her, whether it's offering advice on her career, giving her life lessons, or sharing their wealth of experience, they will ultimately show her just how valuable they are, thus making themselves appear indispensable. The thought process behind this might seem harmless at first. After all, you're showing her that you have a lot to offer, right? But herein lies the fundamental issue. When you choose to position yourself as a mentor, you subtly eliminate any sense of romantic or sexual tension. The dynamic shifts from one of mutual attraction to one of admiration and respect, which is a powerful connection, but it's not the kind of connection that leads to romance or intimacy. She begins to see you as someone who is wise and knowledgeable, not as someone she could potentially see as a lover. This is where things often go wrong for older men. They think that by offering guidance, they're building rapport, but what they're really doing is cementing their place in the friend zone. And when the time comes to express romantic interest, it can feel unnatural, forced, and uncomfortable. The reason this happens is simple. You've spent weeks or months positioning yourself as a teacher, someone who's there to offer advice, not someone who might be interested in her romantically. And when you make your move, it often feels like a complete shift in the dynamic that was established. She's not expecting it, and rather than feeling flattered or intrigued, she feels confused or awkward. It can even lead to her questioning your intentions. Was your interest in her always about being a mentor, or was there something else you wanted all along? The truth is, by the time you decide to reveal your romantic intentions, it may already be too late. She's already placed you in a box that doesn't include anything resembling a romantic partner, and no amount of late-stage charm can change that. So how do you avoid falling into this trap? The key is to set the tone early on by establishing a dynamic that's both fun and flirtatious, rather than purely advisory. From the very beginning, you need to communicate a sense of light-hearted attraction, making her feel that she's not just a student or someone who needs your guidance, but someone who can enjoy your company and maybe even spark something deeper. The approach doesn't have to be aggressive or overwhelming, but it should be playful. Introducing moments of light, teasing, giving her subtle compliments, and creating a sense of connection will help you avoid being placed in the just friends category. This can be as simple as making her laugh with a witty remark, offering a compliment that hints at attraction, or gently teasing her about something you both enjoy. These small gestures lay the groundwork for something more and allow her to see that your interest in her goes beyond just helping her with her goals. By establishing this playful, engaging dynamic early on, you shift the perception of your relationship from purely platonic to one that holds the potential for romance. This is crucial, because waiting too long to reveal your intentions is a mistake many older men make, assuming that building a rapport and offering advice will somehow transform into romantic interest down the line. The reality is that by the time you express your feelings, the connection you've built is already framed in a non-romantic light, and it becomes harder to reframe it in a way that allows her to view you as a romantic partner. Women are incredibly perceptive, and they can sense when someone is being authentic with them. Trying to present yourself as something you're not, such as a purely selfless mentor, will come across as disingenuous if your true intentions are to connect with her on a romantic level. This is why it's important to be upfront with your energy and your approach. Don't try to force a dynamic that isn't natural to you. If you want to be seen as more than just a mentor, you need to let her see the confident, charismatic side of you right from the start. Show her that while you may have valuable insights to share, your interest in her goes beyond just that. Be upfront with your playful energy, your flirtation, and your intentions, and allow her to see you as a well-rounded individual who can offer both guidance and the possibility of something more. Authenticity and confidence are key. The more you own who you are, the more she will be able to see you for who you truly are, and not just the role you're trying to play. This authenticity helps create a deeper, more meaningful connection, one that leaves room for both admiration and romance. Mistake 9. Trying too hard to look young. One of the biggest mistakes older men often make is trying too hard to look younger. This can show up in many ways, like wearing trendy clothes that don't quite fit their personality or age, using slang that feels forced, or trying to chase after every new fad that doesn't suit them. Imagine an older man at a party trying to speak in the same way as the younger crowd, dropping slang he doesn't even use in his daily life. It feels uncomfortable and out of place. Younger women pick up on this immediately and often find it unappealing. Instead of seeing confidence, they see insecurity, a man who is desperately trying to fit into a world that's not his. Take, for example, a man in his 50s who decides to wear skinny jeans and a flashy graphic t-shirt to a casual dinner, thinking it will make him seem young and hip. While it's understandable that he wants to look good, the result is that it feels forced. His younger counterparts might see him as trying too hard, and the natural charm that comes with maturity is overshadowed. What's more attractive is a man who knows how to dress for his age, someone who wears a well-fitted blazer or a stylish jacket that suits his body type and exudes confidence. What truly makes you appealing is embracing who you are, regardless of your age. Imagine a man in his 50s, fit and well-groomed, wearing a classic leather jacket with a simple shirt. He stands out not because he's trying to look younger, but because he exudes self-assuredness. That's what makes him more attractive than the man who's trying to be something he's not. Instead of spending time and money on trends that don't reflect who you are, focus on things that truly make a difference. Invest in clothing that flatters your body and reflects your style, not someone else's idea of what's cool. Work on your fitness, not to erase the years, but to feel strong and healthy in the present. And when you talk, drop the forced slang. Speak from a place of experience and wisdom. That authenticity will naturally attract the attention of younger women who appreciate a man who knows who he is and isn't afraid to show it. If you're tired of pretending to be someone you're not, and you're ready to embrace the powerful, authentic man you truly are, drop a comment below right now. I am confident in my age, and I own my wisdom. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true power comes from being yourself, authentically and unapologetically. So there you have it, the 7 mistakes older men often make with younger women. Let's quickly recap. Idolizing her, messing up the age question, leading with money, positioning yourself as a mentor, trying too hard to look young, overloading the conversation with your achievements, and neglecting your physical presence. At the core of all these mistakes is one common theme: not fully embracing who you are. Younger women aren't looking for someone who's perfect. They're drawn to someone who is confident, self-aware, and authentic. When you let go of insecurities, stop trying to prove yourself, and focus on becoming the best version of who you are, everything changes. At The Noble Man, we believe in helping men not just attract the right relationships, but also live with purpose and strength. Fixing these mistakes isn't just about dating. It's about transforming your mindset and building the life you deserve. If this message resonated with you, reflect on where you can improve and start applying these changes today. Becoming better isn't just a goal, it's a journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Noble Man. Stay strong, stay authentic, and embrace who you truly are.